Today's news highlights. Date June 16, 2025. News highlights: the accusation that peanuts are diabetes accelerators is actually a misunderstanding, and experts point out that the problem is improper consumption. Dietitian Zhao Haining said that plain and unfried peanuts are rich in monounsaturated fatty acids, magnesium, and dietary fiber, which can help stabilize blood sugar and improve insulin resistance. Moderate intake can prevent type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Avoid frying, sugar-coated and other processing methods. It is advisable to consume about 15-20 pieces a day, and eating peanuts correctly is a good helper for health. News highlights: a suspected politically motivated shooting occurred in Minnesota on June 14, resulting in the attack on 2 state legislators and their spouses, killing 2 and seriously injuring 2, and the suspect Bolt is still at large. One of the deceased, Hotman, recently supported joining forces with the Republican Party to abolish health care for illegal immigrants, triggering a fierce backlash within the party. President Donald Trump and the governor have both condemned political violence, and the FBI has stepped in to investigate. This case has shaken the political arena and may exacerbate political confrontation and electoral security concerns in the United States, and the outside world is worried that it will have a long-term impact on the democratic system. News highlights: Taiwan has added China's Huawei and SMIC to its export control list, prohibiting the export of high-tech goods to them without approval, in order to cooperate with international sanctions and prevent China's development of AI chips. The move cut off its access to Taiwan's semiconductor technology and equipment. In the face of the dumping pressure of China's mature processes, the Ministry of Economic Affairs promoted the Jingchuang Plan and EDA Group purchase to reduce costs, and the target advanced process utilization rate reached 45%. The National Science Council emphasizes the protection of key technologies of 12 and 28 nanometers, and connects AI, satellite and other industries to strengthen Taiwan's technological and national security resilience. News highlights: an investigation found that the Asian Pacific American Progressive Alliance, AAPA, a Chinese-American organization in California, and the Chinese-American Alliance, UCA, are involved in anti-ICE law enforcement activities, and some members are suspected of having ties to Chinese intelligence agencies. UCA Chairman Shui Haipei has denied any connection with the Chinese Communist Party, but the group has repeatedly opposed U.S. national security policies, claiming to be involved in racial discrimination. Experts point out that these positions are highly consistent with the official narrative of the Chinese Communist Party, raising concerns about China's policy of infiltration and influence through American non-profits. News highlights: traditional Chinese medicine believes that hair loss and gray hair are related to the lack of kidney qi, and after the age of 40, the kidney qi gradually declines, which can easily lead to thinning and graying of hair. Traditional Chinese medicine practitioner Yu Yan suggested soaking her feet in hot water, massaging her ankles and applying hot compresses to her waist to help strengthen the circulation of qi and blood in the kidney meridians. Kidney meridian stretching is best done at 5 to 7 p.m. To improve hair loss, it is also necessary to supplement nutrients such as protein, anthocyanins, and zinc, and avoid prolonged standing, stress, and bad habits. It is normal to lose more than 100 hair roots a day. If there is abnormal hair loss or scalp inflammation, it should be treated as soon as possible to maintain hair and overall health. News highlights: the Department of Social Work of the Ministry of Health and Welfare said that as of May this year, more than 1.99 million people had been paid epidemic prevention compensation, with a total amount of nearly 11.1 billion yuan. If people have been quarantined in accordance with regulations, or have taken leave to take care of their quarantined relatives, they can apply for a compensation of 1,000 yuan per day, and the application period will be extended to June 30, 114, and will not be accepted after the deadline. Applications must be made through the Epidemic Prevention Compensation Application System, and subsidies will not be given to those with incomplete information, overdue or violations, and the public should apply as soon as possible to protect their rights and interests. News highlights: in the early morning of June 14, 2 state legislators and their spouses were attacked in a shooting incident in Minnesota, USA, resulting in 2 deaths and 2 serious injuries, and the suspect 57-year-old Usain Bolt is still at large. The deceased, Hortman, recently supported working with the Republican Party to abolish Medicaid for illegal immigrants, suspected of political retaliation. Governor Watts activated the Center for Emergency Operations, the FBI joined the investigation, and President Trump harshly condemned political violence. The incident has aroused shock and anxiety from all walks of life, and may exacerbate the political confrontation and democratic security crisis in the United States. News highlights: Gyeongju, an ancient city in South Korea, is not only home to World Cultural Heritage sites such as Bulgaksa Temple and Sok Cave Nunnery, but also the site of Asia's first final disposal site for low and medium-grade nuclear waste. Through the government's promotion of transparent site selection, local referendum support, and industry-government-academia research cooperation, Gyeongju successfully resolved residents' concerns by approving the establishment of a nuclear waste site with nearly 90% of the vote. The disposal site, which will be built in 3 phases, will store about 260,000 barrels of nuclear waste underground, which could be expanded to 800,000 barrels in the future. South Korea's experience emphasizes the importance of transparent communication and economic incentives, providing valuable lessons for Taiwan's nuclear waste management. News highlights: in early May 2023, a large-scale over-the-horizon air battle broke out between India and Pakistan, with warplanes from both sides engaging with long-range missiles using AWACS aircraft without direct contact. The Pakistani side claimed to have shot down 6 Indian fighters, mainly relying on Chinese-made J-10 fighters and Swedish-made Saab 2000 early warning planes to provide intelligence. Experts pointed out that this air battle reflects that modern air combat is mainly based on intelligence and long-range missiles, and planes do not have to engage in close combat, and the Indian Army has suffered great losses due to insufficient training and intelligence disadvantages. This campaign reminds the Taiwan military that it should strengthen training and intelligence integration, and improve its air early warning and data link capabilities. News highlights: the conflict between Israel and Iran continues to escalate, the two sides exchange air strikes, and the attack on Iran's natural gas fields caused a large explosion, which may affect energy supply, causing Egypt and the Middle East stock market to fall sharply on the 15th. Iran cancelled talks with the U.S. Nuclear Association, and the International Atomic Energy Organization said Iran's uranium conversion facility was damaged. Attacks on both sides resulted in many casualties and tensions. The analysis pointed out that defense and energy stocks will continue to rise, oil prices may remain high due to conflicts, and if the situation deteriorates in the future, oil prices may exceed $120, and the risk of global market volatility will intensify. News highlights: Taiwan stocks are facing three major challenges: tensions in the Middle East, short-term gains, and a strong rise in the new Taiwan dollar, and the weighted index is under pressure. If the situation is limited and oil prices remain at $70 to $80, Taiwan stocks are expected to fluctuate near the annual line and return above 22,298 points. If the situation deteriorates, oil prices could soar above $120, which could trigger stagnant inflation and cause US and Taiwan stocks to fall sharply. The impact on the transport, petrochemical, and textile industries, which are highly dependent on energy, is positive for the renewable energy industry. The Fed's interest rate policy and funding chips have also added uncertainty, and experts believe that it is normal for Taiwan stocks to pull back hundreds of points, and the market needs to pay attention to the impact of war and currency trends in the future. News highlights: this year, Taiwan stocks have mainly fluctuated in a wide range, and high dividend ETFs have performed well. 13 ETFs will go ex-dividend this week, of which 4 tranches such as CUNY Taiwan Select High Dividend, 00919, have an estimated annualized dividend rate of more than 10%, and CUNY Taiwan Select High Dividend has a dividend distribution rate of more than 12% for 9 consecutive quarters. Experts point out that high dividend ETFs must choose companies with stable profit growth to ensure dividend distribution and interest-filling opportunities and reduce the risk of stock price correction. In the second half of the year, driven by AI themes and capital markets, it is recommended that investors deploy high dividend ETFs in batches. News highlights: according to a report by JP Morgan Securities, although Taiwanese bank stocks are not cheap, they have low volatility, high lending growth and good risk-adjusted returns, sharp value. It is expected that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates by 4 yards in the next year, and Taiwan will cut interest rates by 1 yard, which is good for the performance of financial stocks. International investors are concerned about the new Taiwan dollar and growth momentum. Xiaomo is optimistic about CITIC Gold and Sinopac, and it is recommended that investors who pursue long-term stability can also consider Yushin Gold. Overall, Taiwanese bank stocks are favored over life insurance stocks, and they are the risk-reward best among Asia-Pacific financial stocks. News highlights: 43-year-old Selena, Ren Jiachuan, has been dating her boyfriend Xiao Su, who is 7 years younger, for 3 years and has a 2-year-old son Little Cashew. On the 11th, 3 generations of the family had dinner with Selena's sister Ren Rongxian and her boyfriend Lin Beisha at the 1 Michelin-starred restaurant Jin Pen Glay. Lin Beisha kindly teased the little cashew nut, showing the atmosphere of an expectant father. Ren Rongxian has been a stable relationship for 4 years, although she frequently takes care of her nephew. She is not in a hurry to get married and have children, and has completed egg freezing. The atmosphere of the party is warm and harmonious, and the 3 generations spend quality time together, showing a happy family atmosphere. News highlights: in a 7-Eleven convenience store in Daliao, Kaohsiung, a couple of junior high school students hugged and kissed in public, and were photographed by the public and criticized this is a supermarket, not a motel, demanding to maintain their image. The video sparked heated discussions among netizens, with many criticizing young people for not concentrating on studying, and some ridiculed that children don't have the money to open a room. In addition, the small flies that kept flying in the video also unexpectedly became the focus, and netizens laughed that flies steal the show. News highlights: Golden Horse actor Li Kongsheng mistakenly broke into the breeding farm in Gongliao District, New Taipei on May 22, caught 2 sea urchins, and later put the sea urchins back in the pool, but he was still involved in theft and was transferred to the prosecution. Li Kongsheng said that he thought it was an abandoned 9-hole pond at the time, and he snorkeled with his friends to pick up sea urchins to show his classmates, and later apologized to the fish farmers and donated to charity, and the two sides have reconciled and become friends. He also thanked the industry for sharing the hard work of farming, emphasized the mistake and apologized again, calling for respect for Taiwan's aquaculture industry. News highlights: Internet celebrity curator Chen Zhihan returned to Taiwan after 6 days and 5 nights of live broadcast of Chinese tourism, emphasizing that he had not received entertainment money at his own expense throughout the whole process, and expressed his willingness to go to the mainland for exchanges in the future. He said that he personally felt the development and friendliness of the mainland, and called on the people of Taiwan to experience China for themselves. After returning to Taiwan, the first task is to prevent Taiwan's general recall, and both the Kuomintang and the People's Party's anti-recall activities will be supported. In response to criticism and threats from the outside world, he responded fearlessly, saying that it is an honor to be attacked, emphasizing that Taiwan is Taiwanese and does not belong to any political party. News highlights: At about 9 o'clock last night in Zhongshan District, Taipei City, there was an incident in which a man got into a used clothes recycling bin. A 29-year-old man surnamed Lai had a panic attack and wanted to find a quiet place, so he opened the recycling bin and got into it, making it difficult to climb out on his own. Witnesses recorded the process and called the police, and the police arrived at the scene in time to assist, and after the help of 2 female policemen, Lai Nan finally got out of trouble. Lai Nan was taken to the hospital for treatment after becoming unwell, and the police stressed that the incident was not related to theft, but only caused by mental conditions. News highlights: Japanese cartoonist Nagarjuna predicted a strong earthquake in the Nankai Trough on July 5, 2025, causing panic. The head of the Japan Meteorological Agency, Ryuichi Nomura, clarified that it was a rumor, and there is no need to worry. However, Guo Kaiwen, former director of the Earthquake Center of the Meteorological Bureau, warned that the risk of earthquakes in the South China Sea Trench and Hokkaido is indeed high. A magnitude 6.1 earthquake has recently occurred near Hokkaido, which may induce even larger earthquakes. Guo pointed out that in the past, the Nankai Trough had a high probability of earthquakes, and it was recommended that people travel to inland cities far from the coast, such as Nagano or Kumamoto, to avoid potential risks. News highlights: Millions of YouTuber Elisa recently admitted in a podcast that in the past, she lived a luxurious life, often went to nightclubs, stayed up late to work, which led to a red light for her health, and was even diagnosed with precancerous constitution. At that time, she often had a low-grade fever, pustules, and hives, and sought medical attention to no avail. Later, she successfully improved her condition through yoga and meditation, and now her life is calm, and she has purchased a second property in Dubai, showing both career and physical and mental growth. News highlights: Tsai Chin held the third Don't Say Goodbye concert in Taipei, and made a special mention of her best friend Chen Wenqian, who suffered from stage 4 melanoma Lao's cancer, and called on the audience to applaud and cheer for her. She will definitely get better. Chen originally planned to attend the first support, but was forbidden by the doctor to go out due to his illness. Cai Chin thanked her for her efforts in fighting cancer, and also thanked all the medical staff emotionally, inviting the audience to give them a round of applause. News highlights: Lin Chiliang of the car model world Cai Yuxin fell into a coma after receiving the sleep wave treatment in May, commonly known as milk injection, and died 19 days later, and the Dr. Wu Xiaohu was charged with negligence and died. After the incident was exposed, internet celebrity Chen Nanru revealed that when he was given a weight loss injection in the same clinic 5 years ago, he was suspected of being molested by Dr. Wu in a coma, and bluntly said that "I can't be silent anymore." She called on more victims to speak out and uncover medical concerns and power abuses. News highlights: Senior media person Liu Wenwan revealed in the show that Baoku Yiying, the first supermodel, gave up acting in movies in the 80s because she refused the unspoken rules. At that time, she was invited by a well-known director to audition, but found that the location was actually the director's residence, and the other party was even lying naked in bed, hinting that she had to dedicate herself in exchange for the role. Baoku Yiying left in shock, and finally did not step into the film industry, admitting that she never regretted it, and insisted on principles over fame and fortune. News highlights: Mr. 486 Chen Yanchang recently named Lin Chiliang on Facebook, questioning her repeated Weibo to congratulate China's National Day, criticizing her posture as unacceptable. He said that he understands that artists go to China to develop, but Lin Chiliang's use of the word motherland, as a public figure from Taiwan, makes politically sensitive remarks, which inevitably raises questions about his position. He stressed that it was not personal, but that she chose to make such a statement. News highlights: 56-year-old Golden Horse actor Li Kongsheng was recently arrested by the police for allegedly stealing sea urchins with his friends on suspicion of stealing sea urchins, which has attracted attention. In Spain, others clarified through the community that it was a beautiful misunderstanding, explaining that at that time, the suspected abandoned 9-hole pool was just to avoid waves and snorkel, and picking up sea urchins was just for fun, and they had reconciled with the pool owner and donated money to apologize, and the two became friends. He laughed at himself, just playing in the water but becoming the king of the pirates. News highlights: the curator, Chen Zhaihan, returned to Taiwan from his trip to Shanghai, and the 5-day live broadcast sparked heated discussions. Internet celebrity Four-Pronged Cat pointed out that during the curator's period, the amount of Douyin alone reached 1.35 million yuan, and the total income is estimated to exceed 5 million Taiwan dollars. Although the content of the live broadcast often focuses on trash cans, toilets and other topics, causing confusion among netizens, and even being questioned and criticized by Lu Min, the overall volume and number of views are off the charts, and the highest simultaneous online audience in a single show reaches 400,000, which can be described as full of traffic and financial benefits. News highlights: Zhang Jiakun rarely posted a photo with her Japanese husband Akira today, and the man's face was also exposed for the first time. She shared an interesting story about chatting between husband and wife, mentioning that birthdays can be celebrated together in the same month, but she didn't expect her husband to mistake her for a Gemini, which made her dumbfounded and complained, "I'm a Virgo, who is a Gemini?" The post was sweet and humorous, which attracted enthusiastic responses from netizens, calling the flashbang is too strong and the desire to survive is zero, and also praised the two for looking happy. News highlights: TSMC's advanced packaging technology CoWoS, chip-on-wafer on substrate, has become a key global technology in response to the rapid growth of AI chip demand. CoWoS can improve chip performance and reduce power consumption, and is widely used in high-performance computing, 5G, and automotive electronics. TSMC has more than 90% of its high-end CoWoS production capacity, but due to overwhelming demand, it has to outsource part of its production capacity to packaging factories such as Silicon Products and ASE Group, and actively lay out the US and Japanese markets. Experts pointed out that Taiwan has three major advantages in technology, cost, and integration, but it is facing challenges such as geopolitics and rising costs, and the competition in the packaging market will be more fierce in the future. News highlights: tensions in the Middle East heated up, and Iran launched a missile in the early morning of the 15th, hitting the Weizmann Institute of Science south of Tel Aviv, Israel. The institute is an important Israeli research institute and is involved in a number of cutting-edge military technologies, including artificial intelligence and drones, and is regarded as a pillar of national defense. The attack is seen as retaliation for Israel's recent airstrikes on Iranian military installations and has strong symbolic significance. Israel has not yet announced the damage and casualties, indicating the high sensitivity of the incident, and experts have pointed to challenges for Israeli air defenses. If true, it may cause even greater waves in international diplomacy and academia. News highlights: the Ministry of Health and Welfare released statistics on deaths last year, with a total of about 200,000 deaths, a decrease of 2% from the previous year. It has been 43 consecutive years since cancer ranked first among the top 10 causes of death, and lung cancer has ranked first among cancer deaths for 21 consecutive years. Intentional self-harm, suicide, returned to the top 10 of the top 10 causes of death, while COVID-19 fell out of the top 10 to 14th. Among the top 10 causes of death, except for pneumonia and suicide, the death rate increased, and the rest declined. Diabetes, kidney disease, and accident injuries have decreased significantly, and the overall standardized mortality rate has continued to improve, approaching the pre-pandemic level. News highlights: US officials revealed that Israel had informed the US of plans to assassinate Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali, but then U.S. President Donald Trump refused, fearing that such a move would trigger a regional war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu did not respond positively, while his spokesman denied the assassination rumors. Trump warned Iran on social media not to retaliate against the United States, emphasizing that he would fight back forcefully if attacked, and predicted that Israel and Iran would soon reach a peace agreement. Within the United States, there are differences on the right of intervention, with the far right opposing the war, conservative senators supporting restraint, and others advocating a tough response if diplomacy fails. Trump will discuss the situation in the Middle East at the G7 summit. News highlights: in a Major League blockbuster trade, the Red Sox sent star heavy cannon Rafael Devers to the Giants in exchange for 4 players, including fireball man Jordan Hicks, 23-year-old left shooter Kyle Harrison, and 2 minor league rookies Balo and Tibbs. The 28-year-old joined the Red Sox in 2017 and has played 1,053 games in his career, hitting 215 hits and 696 RBIs, and has been selected for the All-Star Game 3 times and won the 2018 World Series with the team. News highlights: former President Ma Ying-jeou recently attended the Straits Forum, stressing that the two sides of the strait have the same roots and the same origin, and non-governmental exchanges cannot be stopped, triggering a controversy over becoming a model for the CPC's United Front. Designer Lin Qiuqing created a satirical work, visualizing Ying-jeou as an image of kneeling to the CCP, and using the homonym of enjoy as a metaphor for Ying-jeou enjoying kneeling to the CCP, which aroused heated discussions among netizens, and left comments satirizing the KMT's pro-China stance, criticizing the 92 consensus as kneeling to China. News highlights from today, 16th. To tomorrow, 17th, Taiwan is affected by the southwest wind, the weather is unstable, the temperature is hot during the day, and there are prone to local thunder showers in the early morning and afternoon, especially in the western half and northeast mountainous areas. Weather anchor Lin Jiakai reminded the public to remember to bring an umbrella when going out. Although the southwest wind weakened from Wednesday, thunder showers continued in the afternoon and the temperature was on the high side. Taitung is afraid of feign winds, the high temperature reaches 36 degrees Celsius, and Hualien also lights up yellow. It is recommended to reduce outdoor activities and beware of heat injury and short-term heavy rainfall. News highlights the Taiwan-wide recall campaign has entered the third stage, and the DPP has launched a close support strategy, combining central and local resources to fully support the Hualien recall action. The first event was held in Jian Township today, with party officials and volunteers taking to the streets to call for voting in favor of Fu Kunking's removal and launching a fan demolition campaign to symbolize the end of support for Fu. The party will also carry out propaganda, street sweeping and large-scale campaigns to prepare for the upcoming voting day. News highlights internet celebrity curator, Chen Zaihan, went to China for a live broadcast as a peace ambassador for 6 days, praised China's convenience and cleanliness before returning to Taiwan, called on Taiwanese people to experience it for themselves, and choked "Who is here and can't go back?" was slapped in the face by netizens. Fans Wan listed a number of cases of Taiwanese who went missing from China, such as Li Mingche, Fuka, and Lawson, and questioned him for deliberately downplaying the risk. Some people even complained that he should ask Fu Kunking, pointing out that one member of his visiting team this year has not been heard from after being arrested in Hong Kong, which has caused controversy in public opinion. The curator's words and deeds were criticized as China's model for recruitment, and the change in position sparked heated discussions in the society. News highlights former President Chen Shui-bian recently revealed on Facebook that he had undergone a painless gastrointestinal endoscopy at Jianren Hospital due to continuous bloody stools, and 8 polyps were removed, and he is currently waiting for the pathological biopsy report. He also posted a photo of the hospital bed, humorously saying that the anesthesia has not yet returned, and he is not pretending to be asleep and not waking up. Chen Shui-bian has been on medical parole since 2015 due to health problems, and now he is ill again, which has attracted the attention of the outside world. News highlights Xie Jinhe, founder of Cakes and Media, pointed out that Taiwan's exports exceeded $50 billion for the first time in May this year, reaching 51.743 billion yuan, a record high, indicating strong economic growth. According to his analysis, the proportion of exports in the United States and China markets has changed drastically, with the proportion of exports to the United States rising to 30%, and those to China and Hong Kong falling to 27.2%, reflecting the adjustment of the export market and industrial structure. Semiconductors and information and communication products have become the main force, accounting for more than 70% of exports, highlighting that Taiwan is already a major technology exporter, but also reminding the industry of the risk of excessive concentration. On the whole, the export strength is stable and the international status is rising. News highlights the absurd incident of Muji at Bangqiao Station in New Taipei was shocked, and a man was lying naked in public on a bed for customers to try out on the 14th, and even rolled over, causing a commotion. Witnesses said that the man approached while taking off his pants, which frightened the crowd at the scene, and the clerk and guards then intervened and launched a chase to drive him away. The footage was uploaded to Threads and quickly attracted more than 90,000 likes, with netizens calling it like Attack on Titan and questioning whether customers should be explicitly prohibited from staying in bed for too long, sparking heated discussions online. News highlights numerologist Liao Myron shared an amazing case on the show. A mother-in-law told her daughter-in-law before her death that she must let her uncle enter the ancestral tablet in the future. The reason is that it is an unruly love that has been hidden for more than 20 years. The mother-in-law admitted that because of long-term domestic violence, she and her uncle have been in love for a long time, and even have a son. In order for her son to recognize his ancestors and return to his ancestors, she revealed the truth, hoping that she could worship her biological father instead of her nominal husband in the future, which shocked the audience. News highlights 42-year-old actress Ariel Lin welcomed her second child and gave birth to a healthy baby boy 2 days ago, and the mother and child were safe. Since announcing her pregnancy in March, she has suspended work and kept a low profile until recently. Ariel Lin and her husband Lin Yucheo married in 2015 and welcomed their daughter in 2021. Although there are rumors of marriage changes caused by less reunion and more separation after marriage, this annunciation adds warmth and happiness to the family. News highlights in life and work. Some zodiac signs are a match made in heaven, not only full of tacit understanding, but also can bring prosperity to each other. For example, Pisces and Cancer complement each other's sensibilities, creativity and hard work. The Lion and Archer are full of action and adventurous spirit, and they are not afraid of challenges when they cooperate. Taurus and Virgin are stable and pragmatic, with accurate control of finances and details. Libra and Gemini are good at social networking and communication, and there is an endless stream of creative ideas. Scorpio and Capricorn are the best partners for strategy and execution. These zodiac signs often shine in their lives and careers because of mutual trust and complementarity. News highlights this week: the Sun brings drastic changes in relationships in Gemini, so it's a good idea to avoid internal friction. Mars enters Virgo on Tuesday, so watch out for impulsive behavior and knife burns, especially for children. The Sun shifts to Cancer, and family, house, and mother issues come to the fore. Saturn and Neptune are at a stagnation in Aries, highlighting the challenges of the new generation, and it's a good time to adjust to new trial and error mistakes. Horoscopes of various zodiac signs remind: Taurus and Libra need to face emotional challenges, Scorpio is wary of the risks behind words, and Aquarius pays attention to work and health. Twins and Virgins should be restrained and stubborn, the Cancer cause must break through conservatism, and shooters should be restrained. The careers of the Sheep, the Lion, the Capricorn, and the Pisces all have momentum, and the relationship needs to be moderately adjusted and proactive. News highlights: a female student who was admitted to the medical department of National Taiwan University was suspected of plagiarizing the journal papers of the professor at the science exhibition, which caused controversy. Dong Le, a tutor, pointed out that the difficulty of the science exhibition works far exceeds the high school syllabus, and it is almost impossible to complete without the assistance of university laboratories, and most students can only participate in experiments, which is limited in creativity. She believes that the exhibition is intended to cultivate the spirit of research, but it has become a competitive tool under the pressure of further education, and the evaluation focuses on experimental precision, resulting in unfair students with insufficient resources. Experts called for a return to academic ethics and institutional reform, so that students can truly learn from problems. News highlights: the Taiwan Lottery Power Lottery jackpot has not been drawn for 31 consecutive periods, with a cumulative prize of 1.26 billion yuan, which is expected to set off a buying boom. Yang Dengcheng, chairman of the Taichung Famous Numerology Education Association, pointed out that the most prosperous zodiac signs on June 16 are rats, dragons, monkeys, and roosters, and it is recommended to buy power lottery or scratch tickets at lottery shops in the southwest and northwest directions to improve the probability of winning. Lucky colors include red, pink, purple, orange, yellow, beige, coffee and brown. In addition, moving the nose and ears frequently, gently bracing the nostrils, pinching the nose and pulling the earlobes can also promote wealth and good luck in anticipation of the arrival of the god of wealth. News highlights: chronic inflammation is becoming more and more important. Physician Lu Boren shared that a female college student stayed up late for a long time to study, and experienced symptoms such as body aches, weakness and lack of concentration. Lu Boren pointed out that the woman's long-term stay up late, lack of exercise, emotional stress, and poor diet led to immune, nervous and hormonal system disorders, causing pain and exhaustion. Factors such as high sugar, processed foods, sedentary and air pollution can promote chronic inflammation, causing neurological problems and autonomic nervous system disorders, which are the main causes of chronic fibromyalgia. News highlights: 76-year-old actress Pan Yingzi has starred in classic works such as The Condor Heroes and A Generation of Queens, and has faded out of the entertainment industry and settled in Hong Kong in recent years. At the end of May, she returned to Taiwan to participate in the 18-day fasting retreat of the Thousand Hands and Thousand Eyes Guanyin Bodhisattva, during which she underwent strict practices such as fasting, water, and speech. Pan Yingzi said that the water ban was the most difficult, and humorously shared that during the retreat, she lost a circle of weight and her pants fell off. She thanked her and friends for their care and looked forward to attending the retreat again next year. News highlights: whether the inner leaves of cabbage should be washed or not has caused differences of opinion among Japanese and Taiwanese farmers. Japanese farmers believe that the inner leaves are covered with growth, have not been exposed to soil or insect pests, and do not need to be dismantled and washed like onions. However, Taiwan's climate is hot and humid and mostly non-toxic cultivation, and the inner leaves often hide insect eggs and sediment, and mothers are used to washing them one by one to ensure safety. According to a U.S. Department of Agriculture study, running water rinsing removes 80 to 95% of residues, and is best paired with soaking. Experts recommend that even the inner leaves should be washed in pieces to avoid the risk of pesticides and bacteria. 3 simple steps: remove the outer leaves, rinse in sections, and do not use chemical detergents, so that children can eat more safely. News highlights: Taipei City Police recently seized nearly 10 cases of illegal prostitution of foreign women in Wanhua and Zhongshan districts, involving women from Thailand, Vietnam, and Taiwan. Most of these women came to Taiwan in the name of sightseeing, study, or marriage, and some of them went to the underground prostitution industry after their visas expired. The police pointed out that although the government has introduced a new southbound policy to attract people from Southeast Asia, there is a lack of effective control, which has led to illegal work in the rampant underground erotic industry. Police call for better management at the source to prevent the problem from worsening. News highlights: the spot price of DDR4 memory rebounded nearly 8% on the 13th, increased by 38% in the past half month, and has soared by more than 132% since the beginning of the quarter. Nanya branch took the lead in rising on the 16th, and its stock price hit a new high in 2024, but due to the large short-term gains, it fell back intraday, dragging Win Bond weak. The momentum of the bulls turned to related stocks such as Itron, Jinghoke, and Shijrup, and Itron once rose nearly 5%. Nanyok bucked the trend to expand the production capacity of the old generation of DDR4, showing confidence in the market outlook. Itron and Jinghao have also received new orders, and their performance is expected to improve, becoming potential stocks in the market where prices and volumes are rising. News highlights: as the war between Israel and Iran heats up, Taiwan News Investment Advisory for the first time proposes 3 scenarios for Iran's possible blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. It is most likely to be low-intensity harassment, and oil prices remain at $80–85 per barrel. Medium is likely to be a limited attack, and oil prices will break through $100 in the short term. The most serious is a complete blockade of the strait, which will trigger an epic oil crisis, and oil prices may soar above $130 in the short term. The Strait of Hormuz is the only important outlet to the Persian Gulf, and any blockade would have a serious impact on the global oil market. An investment advisor pointed out that the blockade is an economic suicide for Iran and may provoke a counterattack by the U.S. military. Oil price fluctuations will affect Taiwan's transportation, petrochemical, and other industries, and Taiwan stocks will be affected by geopolitical and U.S. policy uncertainties in the short term, and the trading volume needs to be amplified to resolve the pressure, and is expected to return to the annual line. News highlights: Mega Bank, a subsidiary of Mega Financial Holdings, said that in order to implement corporate social responsibility and cooperate with government policies, it has launched the new Ching and preferential loan to assist first-time buyers who do not own their own homes to buy houses for self-occupation, and provide preferential interest rates, grace periods, and loan tenure and other measures to reduce the burden on the public. Eligibility is that the applicant, spouse, and minor children do not own a home. In accordance with the regulations of the competent authority and the Association of Banks, the bank shall review the credit, income, and expenditure ratio and repayment ability of the applicant. Mega Bank reminds home buyers to plan their finances carefully to avoid housing market fluctuations affecting repayment, and to maintain good credit and quality of life. News highlights: according to the latest poll by the Taiwan Public Opinion Foundation, 35.9% of the 41 legislators of the Kuomintang advocated by KG Unming were in favor and 57.7% were disapproving, a decrease of 0.8% from the previous month, an increase of 3.5% in disapproval, and the anti-recall wave expanded by nearly 700,000. In terms of voting intentions, 39.3% supported the recall and 48.9% voted against, leading by 9.6 percentage points. Although the majority of the people oppose the general recall, the number of supporters is stable and influential. According to the analysis, although the anti-recall poll is superior, due to the high voting willingness of those who support the recall, the final result is still variable, and the follow-up development is worth paying attention to. News highlights: the American Institute in Taiwan, 8, recently called on the public to prepare emergency shelter kits, drawing concern about the escalation of the situation in the Taiwan Strait. Military expert Shi Xiaoyi pointed out that the tension in the Taiwan Strait continues unabated, and the possibility of conflict increases. Wang Zhizheng, Secretary General of the China-Asia-Pacific Elite Exchange Association, said that if China uses force, it may first blockade Taiwan and cut off foreign aid. Energy economist Liang Qiwan warned that Taiwan's summer natural gas reserves can only last about 8 days, and the interruption of energy supply will paralyze the power system, and called on the government to review energy security and combat readiness policies. Experts generally agree that in addition to military preparedness, energy security must also be integrated into national security strategies. News highlights: Chuanlian Welfare Center will acquire 20 RT Mart stores in Taiwan from August, and rename the store as De Quanlian, symbolizing the official withdrawal of the RT Mart brand from the Taiwan market. RT Mart is a joint venture between French businessmen Auchan Group and Runtai Group, and once owned 24 stores in Taiwan, with an annual revenue of more than 40 billion yuan, and was one of the top 3 stores alongside Carrefour and A.Mart. Auchan Group has experienced business difficulties in recent years and has faded out of the Taiwan and China markets. After the acquisition of RT Mart for 11.5 billion yuan in 2022, Chuanlian will continue to promote brand transformation after 3 years of integration. Before the end of July, RT Mart member points can be used for coins, and from August onwards, they will be converted into all Union Welfare points. News highlights: a drowning accident occurred in Fangliao Fishing Port in Pingtung County on the afternoon of the 15th. 7 high school students were swept away by the current, 6 people were rescued, and an 18-year-old high school student surnamed Huang was missing. The police and the Coast Guard searched and rescued last night to no avail, and at 5 o'clock in the morning of the 16th, they dispatched again, and found Huang Nan's body at 7:20, with no signs of life, and the family lost their loved ones. The incident has aroused concern, and relevant units continue to assist in follow-up processing. News highlights: at the end of May, Shenzhen Green Energy broke out more than 1 billion yuan in arrears for the project, causing a shock in the solar industry. According to industry sources, Chunsin and a number of small and medium-sized solar energy developers are facing a crisis of bankruptcy due to the difficulty in obtaining construction permits, and the progress of the project site has been seriously delayed, resulting in a large number of funds being burned out. Chunsin Group has a number of large-scale fishery and electricity symbiosis cases, but due to the lack of support from local governments, complicated review procedures and stricter regulations, it is difficult to start construction. The industry has criticized the Taiwanese authorities for their verbal support for solar energy, but they have not been able to effectively secure construction permits, and have even been blocked by local protests, which has greatly increased the risk of investment for the industry, and it has no choice but to scale back or withdraw from the market. News highlights. Known as Japan's most beautiful princess, Princess Yoshiko paid a 10-day goodwill visit to celebrate the 130th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Japan and Brazil, visiting 8 cities in Brazil and attending a number of important official duties. Because some flights are only available in economy class, she is on the same plane as ordinary passengers, and the picture of being tired and sleeping during the flight was secretly photographed by passengers and went viral in the community, causing strong dissatisfaction among Japanese netizens and criticizing the security loopholes. The royal reporter pointed out that Brazil has a deep history of Japanese descent, and the people are close to royalty, but the clandestine photography incident is still alarming. Princess Yoshiko has been caught tired many times in the past, and public opinion is concerned about her intensive itinerary that may affect her health. News highlights. Mainland actress Tang Wei attracted attention because her face shape changed from round to sharp and slender. She is accustomed to drinking homemade warm salt water in the morning, with sugar-free soy milk and steamed sweet potatoes for breakfast, replacing delicate starch with sweet potatoes and potatoes, chewing slowly, and maintaining her posture with 30 minutes to 1 hour of exercise such as Pilates, swimming and brisk walking every day. Dietitians remind that salt water intake should not be excessive, soy milk should be drunk before lunch and dinner for weight loss, breakfast with carbohydrates is better, and chewing slowly for at least 30 minutes can help increase satiety and promote metabolism. News highlights. Wang Sijia's acting career has been hit since the fake bag turmoil, and in recent years, she has made a living with sporadic announcements and industry matching, but the endorsement of healthcare products has set the worst sales record for the manufacturer in 30 years, and even ended up losing money. She will recently open a parenting program Grow Up Together with Su Xiok and Lu Yuxin on YouTube. As a mother, she shares her experience and strives for transformation. Last year, it was reported that she bought a Thai house fakely, and her image continued to be damaged, and a number of biotechnology companies also turned to Xiaozhen, who had a better image, and Wang Sijia faced the challenge of rebuilding her career. News highlights. Mainland actress Huang Shenji debuted as a star girl, and then married wealthy businessman Yang Ziyi for 17 years, and the two officially divorced this year. Huang Shenji recently clarified the rumors for the first time in the show that she does not receive RMB 200 million in pocket money every year, which is actually her internal budget in the company, not personal consumption, and she feels helpless about the misunderstanding of the outside world. She also emphasized that there is a big gap between the life of a wealthy family and the imagination of the outside world. There is no personal assets in marriage, and the income from live streaming is unknown. After the divorce, she has recovered some of her assets and is living with her 2 sons. News highlights. Want to eat more vegetables but worry about pesticide residues? Dietitian Li Wanping reminded that 9 kinds of vegetables, including cabbage, green onions, and celery, are more likely to have pesticide residues, and if they are not properly cleaned, long-term consumption may affect health. The correct cleaning method is to rinse with flowing water, soak for 10-20 minutes, and then rinse 2-3 times, and remove the outer layer of rotten leaves and roots. Cook without a lid to allow pesticides to volatilize with the steam, and eat less soup to reduce residual intake. In addition, seaweed and sweet potato leaves are safe and economical vegetables because of their strong vitality and low risk of pesticide residues. News highlights. In 2026, the number of national holidays will be increased from 11 to 15, and Chinese New Year's Eve, February 14th, Teacher's Day, September 28th, Taiwan Liberation and Kinmen to Victory Day, October 25th, and Constitutional Day, December 25th, will be added, and Labor Day will also be changed to a national holiday. The Spring Festival holiday is 9 days, 2/14-2/22, and you can enjoy a 16-day long holiday with leave. There are 8 consecutive holidays of more than 3 days throughout the year, and the make-up day is cancelled, and there is no need to make up the shift to work. It is recommended to combine holidays to get the maximum number of consecutive holidays, such as New Year's Day, Spring Festival, Qingming Festival, Labor Day, Dragon Boat Festival, Mid-Autumn Festival, National Day, and Constitutional Anniversary. The winter vacation is about 21 days, and the summer vacation is about 60 days, which is convenient for people to plan their vacations and travel in advance. News highlights. ETFs have become the mainstream of investment, and Prudential has launched the first global multinational blue-chip 100 ETF, 009810, tracking the S&P Global 100 Index, focusing on the world's top companies such as Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. These blue-chip stocks have accumulated returns of 204% over the past 10 years, outperforming the global average of 133%. In the face of tariffs and global uncertainties, the financial, telecommunications, daily necessities and boutique industries have shown strong resilience, and multinational enterprises have the ability to flexibly adjust due to the diversification of their operations. Investment experts suggest expanding the scope of layout, and the European, American, and Japanese markets are still attractive due to policy and economic fundamentals. News highlights the poet Zheng Qiu, real name Zheng Wentao, passed away at the age of 91. Born in Shandong in 1933, he came to Taiwan with his family in 1949 to found the Swallow Society and published a poetry magazine, and in 1955 published his first poetry collection On the Land of Dreams. His masterpiece Mistake has been included in the Chinese language textbook and has been adapted into songs many times, reflecting the war years and cultural nostalgia. The poet Xiao Xiao pointed out that error is not only about emotions, but also contains profound cultural meanings. Zheng Qiu's poems invite readers to enter the dreamlike cultural world, creating an important chapter in modern Taiwanese poetry. News highlights the jackpot of Taiwan Lottery Power Lottery has not been drawn for 31 consecutive periods, with a cumulative prize of 1.26 billion yuan, attracting a large number of lottery fans to snap up. Taichung numerology expert Yang Dengcheng pointed out that on June 16, the 4 zodiac signs of rat, dragon, monkey, and rooster have the most prosperous fortune, and it is recommended to go to the lottery shops in the southwest and northwest directions to buy them, and wear red, pink, purple, and orange and other fiery earth color clothing to help boost wealth. In addition, he reminded that moving your nose and ears can help attract wealth and improve your chances of winning. News highlights actress Ariel Lin gave birth to a baby boy 2 days ago, and the mother and child are healthy. She was 52 months pregnant when she made the news of her pregnancy public in mid-March, during which she took a low-key recuperation and suspended work. Ariel Lin gave birth to a daughter in 2011, and this time she ushered in the second baby boy and officially became the mother of the second treasure. Recently, she attended a friend's gathering with loose clothing, and her pregnant belly was not obvious, showing a good complexion. News highlights Tan Jianxi, a popular actor in the mainland, became popular because of the costume drama Sauvignon Blanc and was named a new generation of costume male gods. Recently, he was chased by a large number of illegitimate students at Guangzhou Airport, and the scene was chaotic for a while. Despite the thrill, Tan Jianxi still waved to rational fans cordially, showing the image of a warm man who loves fans. The incident caused netizens to call for rational star chasing, respect for the idol's private space, and thank the staff for their timely assistance to avoid danger. News highlights this week: the Sun makes the final sprint in Gemini, and relationships are volatile, so it is advisable to avoid internal friction. Mars enters Virgo on Tuesday, so watch out for impulsive behavior and accidental injuries, especially for children. When the Sun enters Cancer, family and mother-related issues emerge. Saturn and Neptune are stagnant in the sheep, emphasizing the issue of the new generation, which is suitable for correcting the mistakes of new attempts. Among the zodiac signs, Taurus needs to face the heart-piercing truth to welcome a new beginning, Libra should be soft to deal with challenges, Cancer needs to balance career and feelings, Sheep has a strong emotional opportunity, and Pisces must take the initiative to break through the emotional deadlock. News highlights actress Yu Fang forgot to warm up because she was bowling with her sister, causing the old injury to flash to her waist, and after the pain intensified, she continued to seek medical treatment, and was finally diagnosed with a herniated fourth segment of the intervertebral disc and muscle inflammation. She shared her painful experience on the 16th, and saw the announcement of medical collapse and shortage of manpower in the emergency department, calling on the public to be more considerate of medical staff. Yu Fang thanked his friends and doctors for their assistance, emphasizing the importance of rest and good sitting posture, and his condition has improved significantly, and his pain has been reduced by 90%, and he is recovering. News highlights Jo Heenian, a member of the Korean group The Boys, announced a temporary suspension of activities today, 16th, without warning, and his company, 100, said that he would suspend the group trip due to personal factors and did not disclose the specific reason. Since 2017, Jo Heenian participated in Produce 101 Season 2 and became a member of The Boys in 19th place, and is loved by fans for his stable performance and friendly image. In March this year, he actively participated in the promotion of the new album Unexpected, and the sudden news of the suspension shocked fans and paid attention to its follow-up movements. News highlights 7 students drowned in Fangliao fishing port, and 2 Marine Corps Special Combat members who were training on the shore at the time immediately jumped into the rough sea when they heard the sound, swam about 300 meters to rescue a student, and used lifebuoys to assist 5 other people, and their heroic actions were praised by netizens. After the incident, the wife of the rescue team member said that her husband ventured into the sea without safety equipment, which made her very worried, but fortunately everyone was safe. Local people and netizens called on the state to praise this group of heroes who fearlessly saved people, and affirmed their bravery and professionalism. News highlights: at about 9 o'clock in the evening of the 14th in Wenshan District, Taipei City, the driver surnamed Luo of Shinshin Passenger Line 251 was mistaken for provocation by the driver of the 660 line of the guide passenger transport in front of him because he honked his horn to remind the rider to drill the seam. The guide passenger driver parked the car on the road, jumped on the bus of the driver surnamed Luo and beat him violently, causing Luo Nan to dizzy and sent to the hospital for treatment. The incident caused panic among passengers, and the police intervened in the investigation. Both companies said that they would assist in dealing with it, and Guide Passenger Transport has suspended the driving of the violent driver, and Shinshin Passenger Transport will also report the case. The incident endangered passenger safety and traffic order, and the society condemned the violence. News highlights: the recall war is heating up, and the Legislative Yuan General summoned Fu Kengqing to actively return to Hualien to start a land war, and Lin Yusheng, Secretary General of the Democratic Progressive Party, ordered the whole party to launch close support, and sent Zhang Haihao, Director of the Organization Department, to lead 30 cadres to be stationed in Hualien, integrate the Youth Department, Hakka Department and new media resources, and make every effort to urge votes. The DPP's public office and local legislators frequently sweep the streets and publicize, and the third stage of recall has entered a sprint period. The Kuomintang camp criticized the move as a political reckoning, while Fu Kengqing stressed the completion of the task. The two sides moved frequently, and the battle situation was tense. News highlights: the Zhonghua County Environmental Protection Bureau announced that from September 30th, Day University and Swafor Road in Dikan Township will be listed as the third air quality maintenance area, and the new fuel locomotives will be the control object, and those who fail to complete the exhaust inspection can be fined up to 60,000 yuan. Zhonghua County already has two empty goods maintenance areas, Lukang Zaihuchuan Hospital and Yunlin Christian Hospital, which have controlled the entry of old diesel buses and trucks since 111 and 113 respectively. The Environmental Protection Bureau stressed that diesel vehicles and fuel locomotives emit pollutants that are harmful to health, and that illegal vehicles will be heavily fined in accordance with the air pollution law, and continue to strengthen control. News highlights: Taiwan's technology giant Huazhong Electronics will be terminated from over-the-counter trading and delisted ahead of schedule from July 21 due to its failure to submit financial reports for 2 consecutive quarters. Today, 16th, announced the resignation of Chairman Wei Xiaoqan due to personal health reasons, and Li Mingkai took over. Wei Xiaoqan is suspected of embezzling tens of millions of yuan of company funds with a fake contract for fishery and electricity, and is involved in the special crime of breach of trust under the Securities and Exchange Law, and the prosecutor has launched an investigation. The financial manager, Cheng Bingjun, was also interviewed and released on bail in May. Huazhong Group has set up factories in China and Vietnam, which is large-scale, and the change of chairman intends to save the business crisis and will file a reply to the termination of the transaction. News highlights: the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran sparked risk aversion in the market, pushing gold prices to a more than 1-month high, with spot gold reaching $3,445 an ounce at one point. At the same time, international oil prices soared, with Brent and WTI crude oil futures rising more than 7%, the largest one-day increase since the Russia-Ukraine war. Soaring oil prices have exacerbated the cost burden of aviation and travel industry, causing related stock prices to plummet, with major US and European airline stocks falling more than 2%, and cruise stocks also taking a hard hit. Experts warn that geopolitical risks continue, and investors must pay close attention to the situation and adjust asset allocation. News highlights: meteorological expert Xie Xingxing predicts that typhoons may form in the South China Sea and the eastern Philippines from June 23 to 29. The typhoon has not yet hit, the weather in Taiwan will change first, and there will be brief showers in many places north and east of Tainan from the 17th, and the rain will continue in the afternoon of the next week, especially in the western half and mountainous areas. People should pay attention to weather changes and prepare for rain. News highlights: TSMC Chairman Wei Zhijia emphasized at the shareholders meeting that green power will be bought as much as possible, and as much as you want, even if the cost is high, it is willing to bear it, driving green energy-related stocks to rise sharply. The share price of Tianneng Green Power, a subsidiary of Clouded Leopard Energy, has soared nearly 3 times since it was registered in the Xing cabinet, becoming the king of energy stocks. Electrical cable and electrical machinery stocks also followed the attack. Heji, Hengda, Rongxing, Dia and other share prices rose. Yaitai's share price rose nearly 30% in 6 days, and the market bought gas. This move has aroused the attention of Taiwanese investors to the trend of the green energy industry. News highlights: the well-known Japanese actor Ayami Sato died of bladder cancer on June 11 at the age of 60. Ayami Sato was diagnosed with urothelial cancer in 2021, and although he was actively treated, his condition deteriorated to the terminal stage in 2023, and doctors estimated that he had only half a year to live. He continued to perform and showed perseverance. Doctors remind that bladder cancer often has no obvious symptoms in the early stage, and hematuria and abnormal urination are warning signs, and you should seek medical attention as soon as possible. Smoking and chemical exposure are the main risk factors. Patients in the early stage can be treated with cystoscopic surgery, and in the advanced stage, chemotherapy or surgery are required to diagnose the critical survival rate early. News highlights the woman, Luo Paiwen, is suspected of defrauding the late chairman of Taeya Group, Shen Yuxiang, and others of nearly 5 billion yuan in the name of selling air tickets to make the difference in assisting investment immigration. She used her trust to induce Shen Yuxiang to invest 4.8 billion yuan and assist in the investment immigration of the whole family, but in fact, she squandered the money on brand name luxury goods and real estate at home and abroad, and opened a high-end hot pot restaurant in Taichung, which was run by relatives. The prosecutor arrested Luo and 5 accomplices, prosecuted them for fraud, money laundering and other crimes, auctioned off some of the stolen goods to compensate the victims, and is tracing overseas assets through mutual legal assistance. News highlights a 51-year-old man in Xinpu Town, Hsinchu County, suddenly fell to the ground and his heartbeat stopped while playing billiards on the evening of June 13. This civilian life-saving hero amazed the ambulance team with his professional first aid skills and calm attitude, and the Xinpu Fire Brigade issued a search in the hope of finding him. The hero said that after receiving the notification through the Here AED line platform, he quickly rushed to the scene and called on the public to learn CPR and join the platform to become life guardians. News highlights a 21-year-old young man surnamed Huang in Taichung became a black household because he did not report his household registration, and his father refused to be contacted by the police, and Mayor Liu Zaihuan instructed the police to intervene in the interview. Wang's father admitted that he did not know how to apply for a household registration, denied restricting his son's movements, and suggested that he reduce going out because he had not been vaccinated and did not have a household registration. After investigation, the police found that there was no violation of the law and did not transfer it. Huang was once kicked out of his home by his father and lived on the streets, making a living by picking up and recycling, and his life was difficult. The Social Affairs Bureau has intervened in the resettlement and will assist with household registration and education issues, and Lo Xiaoyan appealed to the outside world to reassure. News highlights this year's lunar calendar has a double spring leap June, commonly known as the Year of Good Luck, but numerology expert Mr. Aga reminds that this year's energy fluctuates greatly, and it is necessary to pay attention to 4 taboos, avoid going to places with negative energy such as night tours, cemeteries, and bereavement, do not buy prayer items that are not consecrated or from unknown sources, try to avoid moving, avoid large occasions such as sacrifices, weddings, and funerals. Although leap June is a symbol of good luck, due to the instability of energy, it is recommended that it is not advisable to rush into major decisions such as getting married and buying a house this year, so as not to incur adverse effects. News highlights internet celebrity curator Chen Haihan ended his 6-day and 5-night trip to Shanghai, during which he showed his idol image in a live broadcast in China, without exploding foul language, attracting many Chinese fans to take a group photo. After returning to Taiwan, he immediately changed back to the funny route, and in the face of someone in the live broadcast room threatening to throw things at him, he boldly choked, "I'm waiting for you." Media person Zhang Yuxiao criticized the curator for swearing after returning to Taiwan, thinking that he might turn his face at any time, and the contrast between words and deeds sparked discussions. News highlights the NBA championship game is in full swing, but the Grizzlies and the Magic have made a shocking deal. The Grizzlies sent leading scorer Bane to the Magic in exchange for shooter Cardwell Pope, guard Anthony, and 5 first-round picks. The Magic will strengthen their roster and form a new triumvirate of Bane, Banchero, and Wagner to compete for the Eastern Conference title. Bane has had a great season, averaging 19.2 points per game. The Grizzlies are suspected of starting a rebuild, and the huge chips have aroused concern about Morant's future, and the trade trend has become the focus. News highlights at 8 o'clock in the morning today, 16th, a 3-car serial collision occurred on Zhongxing Road in Zizi, New Taipei City. Fortunately, there were no passengers on either bus and no one was injured. The accident caused a traffic jam during working hours, which has now been ruled out. The monitor screen shows that the bus stopped at a red light at the start of the intersection due to the congestion of left-turning vehicles, and the rear bus did not brake in time and caused an accident. Police are investigating the cause of the incident and who is responsible. News highlights the Dodgers announced that Shohei Ohtani, a second-star player, will serve as a starting pitcher against the Padres on the 17th, marking his first return to the pitcher mound after 633 days since an injury on August 23, 2023. After surgery on his right elbow last year, Ohtani focused on striking and set a single-season record of 50 hits and 50 thieves. Head coach Roberts said Ohtani is ready to return, and while he's not sure to shoot 1 or 2 innings, his first innings will be of positive value to the team. In order to return to the pitcher role this season, Ohtani has completed a number of actual combat simulations and is in the final stage of preparation. News highlights Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu broke the news in an interview with U.S. media on the 15th, saying that former U.S. President Trump was twice assassinated by Iran during his election campaign last year. Netanyahu noted that Iran sees Trump as the biggest threat to its nuclear weapons program and has used proxies to try to assassinate him. Although the U.S. security establishment has not confirmed a direct link to Iran, and Trump suggested last year that Iran was behind it, Iranian officials have firmly denied the allegations. The remarks once again highlighted tensions in the Middle East and the hostility between the United States and Iran. News highlights the United States and China are fiercely competing for research and development of nuclear fusion technology. Executives of U.S. companies say that China has invested far more money and manpower than the United States, and there has been imitation, raising technical security and supply chain risks. The Biden administration spends about $800 million a year, and China more than doubles. Since 2015, China has led the world in the number of nuclear fusion patents. China has built the world's first all-high-temperature superconducting tokamak device, while the United States has aging equipment and must rely on the support of its allies. The U.S. Department of Energy, DOE, has backed a number of nuclear fusion companies and has demanded that technology roadmaps be presented by 2025, indicating the intensification of competition between the two sides. News highlights the Taichung City Land Administration Bureau announced on the 15th that 1,471 heirs have not been registered for inheritance this year, involving 4,664 pieces of land and 536 buildings, with an announcement value of more than 11.9 billion yuan. According to the provisions of the land law, if the heir fails to handle it within the time limit, the Land Administration Authority will announce and remind that if the transfer of ownership is not completed within 15 years, the land building will be transferred to the State-Owned Property Administration for sale, and the income will be retained for 10 years for application, and the overdue will be returned to the public treasury. Most of the heirs are not in the country or do not know that they can inherit, and the Land Administration Bureau has published the announcement information in the local government offices and offices, reminding the public to handle it as soon as possible to avoid the loss of property. News highlights the number of people with Alzheimer's disease is increasing year by year, and it is often found that it is irreversible when the symptoms are obvious. Physician Zheng Yanyuan pointed out that 90% of late-onset patients are related to hormonal imbalance, stroke, toxins, and chronic infections, especially oral bacteria and herpes viruses have been proven to cross the blood-brain barrier, causing nerve inflammation and brain cell degeneration. Studies have shown a clear association between periodontal disease and the rate of cognitive deterioration. He has called for starting with oral cleaning, preventing the risk of dementia in advance, and establishing an effective line of defense. News highlights the Ministry of Health and Welfare announced the top 10 causes of death in 113 years, with cancer topping the list for 43 consecutive years, claiming more than 54,000 lives, with lung cancer, liver cancer, and colorectal cancer being the top 3. The total number of deaths was about 200,000, a decrease of 4,192 from last year, mainly due to the decline in deaths from diabetes and COVID-19. The number of deaths by suicide exceeded 4,000, returning to the 10th place in the top 10 causes of death after 14 years. The median age of death was 77 years, with 30% of the people aged 85 and above. Deaths from the pandemic have fallen out of the top 10, with suicide and pneumonia being the only ones with an increase in standardized mortality, and the rest of the causes of death have declined. News highlights recently, the risk of disasters has risen, including the threat of war and frequent earthquakes, which has led to a rise in people's awareness of disaster prevention. Aide Kaohsiung called for the preparation of evacuation kits, which contain 7 categories of essential supplies, including drinking water, dry food, medical supplies, important documents, flashlights, warm clothing, and hygiene products. It is recommended that the food should be kept at room temperature and does not need to be cooked, and the total weight of the refuge bag should not exceed 15% of the body weight. In addition, you should draw up an evacuation plan with your family and friends, prepare a paper map, and contact information to ensure a quick response and peace of mind in the event of a disaster. News highlights a retired faculty couple in their 80s lives on each other, and they seem to have a stable life on the outside, but in fact they are in danger. It is shocking that the children installed a monitor because of their father's frequent injuries, and found that the elderly mother with dementia had been violent to the father for a long time. There is a shortage of manpower to take care of them, it is difficult to queue up for nursing homes, and it is difficult to find foreign caregivers, so the children can only take care of them in person, and they are physically and mentally exhausted. The incident highlights the dilemma of elderly care and the pressure of long-term care, and also reflects that the problem of single elderly people is becoming more and more severe in the future, and the road to long-term care is long, which needs to be faced and supported by families and society. News highlights under the double impact of reciprocal tariffs in the United States and the sharp rise of the new Taiwan dollar against the US dollar, the profits of Taiwan's machinery and machine tool manufacturers have shrunk sharply. Due to the serious foreign exchange loss and the customer's failure to agree to adjust the price, some operators chose to suspend the order taking and adopted the 3 days off and 4 days off response. The association pointed out that the impact of exchange rate changes is worse than tariffs, which may lead to tearful shipments and even loss of orders. The industry is worried that the new Taiwan dollar will rise above 29 yuan, and calls on the Taiwan authorities to face up to the risk of appreciation and avoid the continuous damage to the industry. News highlights Taiwan's major connecting component manufacturer Huazheng stopped trading in April due to the delay in handing over the financial report, and the Financial Supervisory Commission announced that it would terminate the over-the-counter purchase on July 21, and 37,000 shareholders lost all their capital. Chairman Wei Xiaoqan is suspected of signing a fake contract with Hongsheng Technology, misappropriating tens of millions of yuan of funds, and has resigned and stepped down after being investigated for violating the Securities and Exchange Law. Founded in 1984, Huazheng once accounted for 25% of the global wire rod market, but now it has broken out and the financial crisis has broken out, and the company's operation is in jeopardy. News highlights on the way to and from Jufen in Keelung, an aunt in red asked the boy in the middle school to give up his seat in the fraternity seat, and the boy was scolded by the other party for 5 minutes after giving up his seat, causing him to break down and cry. The passengers couldn't stand it and reprimanded the aunt for not moral kidnapping. The incident caused netizens to support the boy. The new Taipei City Transportation Bureau emphasized that the concession of seats should be voluntary, not mandatory, and hopes that the public will give in rationally to each other to avoid conflicts. News highlights artist Wang Delo was involved in entrusting an agent to pretend to be sick and flash soldiers, and was prosecuted by the new Taipei District Prosecutor's Office for the crime of making a civil servant publish false documents. The mastermind, Chen Haiming, received 4.03 million yuan to assist 24 men in forging high blood pressure certificates through methods such as holding their breath and checking on behalf of gunmen to avoid military service, making a total profit of 7.63 million yuan. Because Wang Delo has been abroad for a long time, he entrusted him to deal with the desertion and falsely reported the loss of his documents and reissued them. The prosecution stressed that this act undermined the fairness of the military service system and seriously endangered social and national security, and recommended a heavier sentence. News highlights in the past year, there has been a wave of closures of Japanese civilian food curry rice restaurants, and 13 stores have gone bankrupt in debt, and the actual number may be even higher. The main reasons include the surge in rice prices due to the impact of the climate on the rice harvest, the rise in prices and energy costs, the shortage of manpower, the fever of the post-epidemic delivery boom, and the depreciation of the yen to compress people's spending power. News highlights heartburn is common after meals, mostly due to gastroesophageal reflux. Nutrition expert Hong Taexian recommends chewing candy-free or cinnamon gum for 10 to 15 minutes within 30 to 60 minutes after a meal to promote saliva secretion and stomach emptying, and relieve discomfort. Peppermint and sugary gum should be avoided. The causes of acid reflux include high-fat diet, high gastric pressure, sphincter relaxation, and delayed gastric emptying.